Studio 31.
It was like a stab in the heart.
Helping kids up their game, but now the future uncertain for one local group. And how one of the COVID-19 vaccines might fall short when it comes to the new variant.
That's what this is about, to keep it going, keep the memory alive.
A memory many will never forget. 80 years ago today, the attack on Pearl Harbor. Action 10 News at 10 starts right now. Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here on Action 10 News at 10. I'm Paul Mueller, and we begin tonight with parking problems. And of course, the troubleshooters, yes, they're on the case. It's happening on 10th Street, that's just south of Ayers in Corpus Christi. And one man there asking our Andy Lascano for help, saying students from the nearby Aveda Institute are causing him a major headache.
Well, sometimes this man claims that the students even move his trash can so that they can use the parking space to park. So we're going to hear from the resident, we're going to hear from the different city departments, and we're going to hear from Aveda.
Alberto Vasquez says he and his family have lived on 10th Street nearly 20 years. But recently, he's having to set out these traffic cones to make sure nobody parks in front of his house.
And sometimes we need the space for the nurse to come and take a look at my mother-in-law.
Vasquez's mother-in-law is handicapped. But the parking problem, according to Vasquez, comes when students from the nearby Aveda Institute, just up the street at 6 Points, arrive for classes Tuesday through Saturday and sometimes move his traffic cones and ignore the no parking sign in his front yard so they can park and walk to their classes. Vasquez claims that someone even pulled the sign out of his front yard and threw it over the fence. So he says he's contacted CCPD and other city departments for help about this. So did we. 5 different city departments and District 2 City Councilman Ben Molina told us they'd never heard about this, and there's really nothing they can do.
You know, the city would say, well, this is a public street. They can park wherever they want.
No, I understand that, okay, and I don't have a problem with that, okay? The only thing that I want is, when I got my trash cans out, do not move them.
Vasquez says he's spoken with Aveda about this, yet the problem persists, and the troubleshooters tried speaking with Aveda's management, and while we couldn't get an on-camera interview, they did send an email which says in part, they coach their students on where they're permitted to park and that they'll be meeting with their student body this morning to clearly communicate the expectations and consequences of any subsequent violations.
CCPD tells us that no parking sign that he has in his front yard, well, that's not really enforceable. It has to be an official sign from the city. So, as always, whenever you need help from the troubleshooters, all you have to do is drop us an email at troubleshooters@KZTV-10.com. Andy Lascano, Action 10 News.
All right, Andy, thank you. A local jury awarding more than $300 billion to a local family after a deadly crash that took 3 lives. You might remember this. Back in November 2017, Tamara K. Kindred and her granddaughter, Anjuni Tame Anderson, hit and killed by a drunk driver here at Castores and SPID. The other driver, Joshua Del Bosque, also died that night. His blood alcohol level more than 3 times the legal limit. Not long after, the victim's family sued Beer Bellies. That's the bar Del Bosque had been at that night. Investigators later determining the bar overserved him. Today, the family's attorney is saying they don't expect to get a single dollar, though they want to remind people of the, quote, horrific costs of drunk driving. A tragedy that could have been prevented. That is the word tonight from safety officials about the deadly underwater pipeline explosion happening last August, killing 4, injuring 6 others. Now, the NTSB finding the dredging company Orion Marine Group failed to put coordinates into a GPS-type system that alerts workers when they're too close to a pipeline. That's the cause of the explosion when the Wayman L. Boyd dredging vessel hit an underwater propane pipeline. The NTSB recommending a risk management program. That's a program that companies don't have.
That's why I don't like to use the word accident, because it was preventable. And this was a terrible tragedy where lives were lost. And, you know, as I mentioned, serious injuries and families that are forever shattered.
The NTSB also recommending Orion and the other companies expand safety zones when working with underwater pipelines, also increase their training requirements. Tonight, a basketball skills clinic for local kids in danger of shutting down. The owners of the program get an eviction notice, though they say They did absolutely nothing wrong. And tonight, our Seth Kovar set out searching for answers.
Culture Complex gives kids a shot at playing at the collegiate level or even beyond. But if nothing changes, this court, the equipment, and the coaches have to be out of here by the end of the month. Since April, dozens of kids have taken part in the skills clinic housed in a warehouse on SPID at Crosstown. But when Culture Complex owners Corey Haywood and Marcus Ellison got there a few days ago, an eviction notice was waiting for them.
It was like a stab in the heart, honestly, because it's like we kind of watched this grow. It's like our baby, you know.
We reached out to their landlord to see why she's evicting them, but she wouldn't agree to an interview. Leanna Maya would only say that Haywood and Ellison were in breach of contract and that rent payments were involved. Not true, says Haywood.
We have all our receipts of everything. We paid our rent. We know we have text messages that we've showed that we paid our rent. We've never been late on our rent. So I don't understand, why, she's evictuating us.
And she might have a legal fight on her hands. A Corpus Christi law firm is already on the case, and they're doing it for free.
I'm paired up with Webb, Case, and Manning, who is funding the litigation. So not only do we have a big team on this, we are doing this out of the goodness of our hearts because we believe in this project.
A project that might live on, even if the eviction stands.
Hopefully we can stay here, but if we can't, man, I would just like that we can get our own place, something that we can actually build. We don't got to worry about it being evicted or anything, something we can make, bigger and last longer for the kids here in the community.
December 31st is when the eviction notice says that Culture Complex has to be out of here, but as the expected legal battle tips off, we'll be sure to keep you updated. Reporting in Corpus Christi, Seth Kovar, Action 10 News.
All right, time now for a first look at the weather tonight. Chief Meteorologist Sharon Ray joining us in the studio. And Sharon, it's a lovely picture we see there behind you, but it's not feel-o-vision, because it's a little chilly out there right now.
It is cool, yeah, and it's gloomy too.
Gloomy, look at that. And could we see some fog tonight?
Yeah, there's already some very light fog out there, and there is going to be some of that tonight, more though tomorrow night. I think it'll be thicker tomorrow night. But for now, we've got the low cloud layer, and we have some light fog developing. The temperature is sitting at 63 degrees. It's not going to cool too much into the 50s tonight, and we are looking at calm winds. So as you wake up in the morning, do expect quite a bit of cloud cover out there, but tomorrow's going to be different than today. We will see those clouds break up fairly early, and we'll end up with some sunshine, but the morning hours are going to be mainly cloudy. Temperatures up to 64 by 9 tomorrow. Look at this graph. Yeah, you talk about a lot of ups and downs. We go from very warm to cool in just 24 hours, and that's what happened from yesterday to today, and it's going to happen again this weekend. In fact, we get near record warmth by Thursday and Friday, and then it's just a little on the chilly side by Sunday. So coming up in weather, I'm going to track all these changes, including what you can expect as you head out the door in the morning. Plus, a look at that warming trend. How warm will it get? 90 is in the forecast for some, plus foggy skies, and it's going to be thicker tomorrow. I'll track that for you, and we'll talk more about the weekend coming up.
Talk about a roller coaster. All right, Sharon, thank you so much. Still to come tonight at 10, no rate hikes from TWIA. We're going to hear more from the group protesting any more fees. And later, 80 years ago today, the attack on Pearl Harbor. A look back when we come back. Watch Action 10 News at 6:30 on KZTV. All right, community and business leaders putting on a united front this morning to send a resounding no to TWIA. The Texas Windstorm Insurance Association's virtual board meeting this morning essentially turning into a protest, all against its 5% rate hike that the board passed back in August. Now, during this year's legislative session, a law passed saying the TWIA board can no longer take action to increase rates with a vacancy on the board. TWIA actually voting in favor of that 5% rate hike the day before that new law went into effect. Take a listen.
We just find it outrageous. That's why we're here. That's why we've got support from labor, from individuals, from the chamber, small business, large businesses, and our Coastal Bend legislative delegation.
The group of protesters saying TWIA has tried to raise its rates at least twice a year since Hurricane Harvey devastated the coast back in 2017. Still ahead tonight, one of the COVID-19 vaccines may not be as effective against the new coronavirus variant. The reasons why when we return. But first, a live look outside tonight. Yes, it's a little chilly, as Sharon said. Ready for the roller coaster? Sharon's got the full details in her forecast. That's next.
Now, Action 10 Chief Meteorologist Sharon Ray with your Doppler 10 weather forecast.
Well, good evening. Here we are on this Tuesday night. It's kind of cool out there. And remember yesterday we hit 85? Look at that, 64 today. So we were over 20 degrees cooler today. You could certainly feel it. And those clouds, they were stubborn. They didn't want to break up today, and temperatures stayed in the 60s. Right now, we're sitting anywhere from 54 at Alice to 65 at Rockport. Fortunately, there's not a lot of wind blowing out there. We have very quiet conditions, but you can see we do have some light fog developing along with, excuse me, those low clouds which are in the sky. Now, tomorrow, those clouds will break up, and it's going to be warmer tomorrow than it was today. In fact, we'll start off with some fog and low clouds. Temperatures then reach into the 70s, upper 70s tomorrow afternoon. A beautiful day here on this Wednesday, and the wind's still fairly light tomorrow as it will stay under 12 miles an hour. So for tonight, we have the low clouds and we have some fog developing, very light fog tonight. That will continue through the morning, and then the clouds will break up and we'll see that sun. And temperatures with that southeast wind tomorrow, those are going to warm up, starting the day in the 50s, from 53 in the morning at Beeville, 55 Kingsville, 57 Corpus Christi, low 60s Coast. A little cool, but the afternoon, look at how it warms up. We see those temperatures reaching the upper 70s to near 80. Yeah, a few spots inland touching 80 tomorrow, including George West and Alice, 77 Corpus Christi, and 74 at Port Aransas. Pretty nice weather here for December. And then tomorrow night, notice it's not as cool, and that fog. Yeah, I think it's going to be thicker tomorrow night as we'll have clearer skies and that temperature dropping to the dew point. Some dense fog possible to start the day Thursday. Look at those temperatures for Thursday. In fact, reaching into those mid to upper 80s inland, from 88 George West Thursday, 88 Kingsville, Corpus Christi 85. Not quite to the record, but we're going to be getting close Thursday and Friday. The wind is light now. It's going to start picking up. The windiest days, those are going to be Friday and Saturday. Friday from the south, warming it up quite a bit Friday. Saturday, cooling it down a lot. From the north, we have those winds, and it's going to be a windy, blustery day Saturday as temperatures fall. Right now, there are those clouds, those stubborn clouds across the area. You can see, though, they tried to clear from the west today and came close. Tomorrow, we'll get rid of some of those clouds. We'll see some sun. And then we're going to await our next cold front. And that's sitting in the Pacific Northwest right now. And that's the one that'll eventually make its way in here, but not until Saturday. So we've got a few days here of warming out ahead of that system. Meanwhile, the Northeast will be dealing with some snow as we get into late tomorrow and early Thursday, and then this system develops, bringing snow and needed snow to the Mount Rockies. The snow resorts, ski resorts are looking for that, and that will be the first decent snow of the season there. For us, that cold front moves in here Saturday morning, and notice not a lot of rain with it, but we could get a few showers, perhaps a rumble of thunder early in the morning Saturday and Friday late night, and then it's on its way, and here comes that cooler air behind it. All right, so if we take a look at the next 7 days, you can see the changes here. Tomorrow we start warming, a very nice day in the 70s, much warmer Thursday and breezy, that fog dense in the morning. And then as we get into Friday, it's windy. And take a look at these temperatures. First of all, for the boat parade Friday night, it's looking very nice for the lighted boat parade. Breezy and mild. And Saturday, well, we have that potential for rain, but you'll notice it's only in the morning hours. Not a lot either. We're only talking about a ½ inch or less. So not a lot of rain here with that system coming in. So overall, we've got some pretty good weather. Hope you like warmth, because we're going to have it the next few days.
All right, Sharon, lots to talk about with that roller coaster of a forecast.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we turn to tonight's coronavirus coverage, and leading South African researchers say Pfizer's vaccine may not be as effective against the virus. And tonight, our Naomi Ruckham tells us why. And here at home and around the nation today, a day to remember and one we will never forget. 80 years ago on this very day, the deadly attack on Pearl Harbor. December 7th, 1941, Japan attacked the U.S. Navy base in Hawaii, destroying more than half of the fleet of aircraft. also damaging all 8 battleships. Some 2,400 service members and civilians killed, about half of them on the USS Arizona. More than 1,100 people injured. One day later, December 8, 1941, the U.S. declaring war on Japan, officially entering World War II. And at the USS Lexington Museum today, a local remembrance ceremony, all to honor those who died in the attack. And in Navy tradition, a wreath laid in the water, followed by taps. The ceremony featuring the Corpus Christi Veterans Band, Mary Carroll High School NJROTC, as well as the Corpus Christi Pipes and Drums. One man at the ceremony landed in Pearl Harbor on that very day. Take a listen.
I just came from a ceremony where a bunch of young adults were there, so they're going to remember, I hope. And that's what this is about, to keep it going, keep the memory alive.
The ceremony sponsored by the USS Lex Volunteer Organization. Also on hand, retired U.S. Navy Captain Bob Batterson, who is also a USS Lex Museum volunteer, not to mention a Pearl Harbor survivor. And on this day 80 years ago, a Texas sailor who gave his life in the attack, today laid to rest in his hometown of Winnie, that's in between Houston and Beaumont. Specialist Second Class Charles Saunders, just 18 years old when he was among the more than 400 who died aboard the USS Oklahoma. His remains not identified until a few months ago through advanced DNA testing. A procession as well as a graveside service with military honors, then buried in a nearby cemetery right next to his parents. No silver bullet solution to the pandemic-induced supply chain problems. At least that's what trade experts told senators today as they testified on Capitol Hill. All this, of course, as peak holiday shopping is not only stressing out the system, but consumers as well. Our Skylar Henry reports. Finders keepers, losers weepers? That is not the case for a Houston plumber now getting a reward after turning in a stash of cash he found hidden in the walls of a Texas megachurch. That plumber turned in hundreds of envelopes of cash and checks he found in a wall while doing some work over at televangelist Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church. Police say the find could be connected to the 2014 theft of about $600,000 from the megachurch. Crime Stoppers of Houston saying it would give the guy $20,000. And pictures with Santa. Yes, we're going to look at it in a minute. We're going to take you to the photo shoot. That's up next. Christmas, it's a holiday many kids wait for all year long, but sadly for some parents, they just can't afford those material gifts. And that's where the U.S. Marine Corps Toys for Tots program steps in, giving toys to kids who wouldn't have any presents to open. But this year, the program needs your help as the Coastal Bend is behind on donations right now.
That's so handsome.
So handsome is right. Look at this. Time for pictures with Santa over at Driscoll Children's Hospital today. Old St. Nick in his very own winter wonderland snow globe, socially distanced of course, as the kids sat up front. Parents say the benefit of this photo shoot, no hustle and bustle, no loud noises from the mall or those bright lights, and hey, no lines either, right? And all this happening by appointment, and the smile on those kids' faces, let's just say priceless.
It's honestly a first because he's not used to different things. He's used to routine schedules. So for them to make him feel comfortable and to actually get a smile out of him is something that we rarely get to see when it comes to photos.
This is the 6th year the rehabilitation services at the Children's Hospital has hosted Pictures with Santa. All right, we're not done yet. Sharon has the final word when we come back.
Well, we're going to start our day tomorrow with some low clouds and fog, but those will break up and temperatures climb. It'll be a warmer day tomorrow. There's still not a lot of wind, though. The breeze will stay light tomorrow, but it does start to pick up on Thursday and Friday. There's your 7-day forecast then. Thursday, some morning dense fog, and then becoming partly cloudy, breezy, and very warm all the way through Friday. The wind picks up. A cold front coming in late Friday night, early Saturday could produce a few showers, and then it's much cooler cooler for the weekend. Paul?
88 on Friday. Look at that. All right, Sharon, thank you so much. And as we inch closer to Christmas, you, our loyal viewers, are sending us your holiday decorations. Go ahead and check this one out from Marcia Hall over in Portland. She says the most special part of her setup is the race car scene with Mrs. Claus. You heard it right. The car right up there, that's her own, race car. There's also Santa and the elves, designed to be the pit crew, along with a grandstand full of elf fans. Also several other decorations like a frozen pond scene with Snoopy driving with penguins, Disney characters, not just one, but 3 nativity scenes. By the way, if you want to check out Marcia's house, just stop by. You can go unannounced, I guess. Just don't knock at the door, maybe. 117 East 7th Street over in Portland. And with that, tonight we are asking all of you, our Action 10 viewers, to send us pictures of your holiday decorations. If you think you've got the best display in the neighborhood, send in your pics or videos to KZTV10.com/holiday. We'll be posting those images and locations throughout the holiday season and on our website. That's going to do it for us tonight. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow at 6:30. Good night.